Boys, today I'm going to be showing you how you can improve at chess if you're at around the 0 to 600 level. I will be showing you some major tips that you need to be really good at in order to improve at chess and get to epic rating. So the first thing that you have to do is try to put 2 pawns in the center. Play e4. And I recommend that you learn an opening, like the Italian game, which goes e4, e5. Black plays e5 because you want to put 2 pawns in the center, and so they're disallowing you by threatening to capture. So now you play knight to f3, which both attacks this pawn, threatening to take, and then play d4, and it also protects the d4 square. So now, black will play knight to c6, which defends their pawn and attacks the d4 square. Now you will play bishop to c4, getting another piece out. And what a standard Italian game might look like is, after bishop c5, now you have a choice of which of these pawns to push, or you can just castle. If you push the d pawn, you're going for just some standard development with something like bishop to e3, which once again attacks the d4 square. And if they take, you do get this doubled pawns, which generally is bad, but doubled pawns aren't as bad if it can control the center and is also next to other pawns. And so in this case, after black plays something like d6, you can now continue your development with knight to c3, because also something that you need to be wary of is whenever you move a piece, like pushing the pawn to d4, you need to look at other pieces around it, specifically the ones that it used to protect, the bishop and the pawn. If you push, nothing is attacking the bishop, but this knight is attacking the pawn, which is why you need to put this knight out to defend it before you go d4. So, after they castle, can we now push d4? Well, we actually can't. At least it's not the best option, because after they take, they can now sacrifice their knight, because when we take back, they can push d5, forking our pieces. This is a very common tactic in the early game. So you have to be wary of little tactics like this in the opening. Now here, another more aggressive option is something like c3 to then play d4. But I won't be going too deep into it. I'll link my video about the Italian game in the description. What I will also link is if they play knight to f6, you can play the fried liver attack with knight to g5. The video will also be linked in the description. But what I'll tell you right now is that after d5, which is the only move that protects f7, you can take, and then sacrifice the knight. After they take, go queen to f3, another forking the knight and the king. And if they try to hide, then you take, and it's a checkmate. This will win you a lot of games, trust me. Now, let's say you're playing as black, and here, after they play c3 and you play knight to f6, they play d4. Now here, you take, and then they push e5. In this position, what would you play? A lot of people here would say d takes c4, because, they just took this pawn. Why don't they take another pawn? However, this blunders the knight on f6. A lot of people have blind spots for pawn attacks in the center. What you need to do to avoid the stuff like this and blundering in general is just after your opponent makes a move, before you make a move, you need to just scan the board. Can any of your pieces be taken with something of a lower value, or are they just not defended at all? Now, according to theory, d5 is the best move here, counterattacking the bishop. But a move like knight to g4, just getting out of the way of the attack, is also perfectly fine. And now, I've hopped into a game with my boy Aaron to show you something that a lot of people struggle with, and that is time management. whenever you get more than a minute behind your opponent, let's say, in anything less than 5 minutes, you just gotta make some obvious move. So like, well, in this position, again, you don't wanna castle. Actually, a good tip when your pawns are extended here. So instead, play maybe a pawn break, like f4 in a closed position. And you see they didn't react. Now, as you can see, you can just push this pawn, and the bishop is trapped, which is something that you have to, something that you need to notice here. And actually here, castling isn't a terrible move, because even though my pawns are extended, this f file is open, and now I can bring my rook over to f2, which is protected by the bishop. And when your pieces join up on certain squares, you should really capitalize off of that. And now I'm taking all of the pawns. And here, as you can see, we have rook and king on the same line. So I'm going to play bishop to b5. And then I'm going to take. And it's actually going to be checkmate very soon. I can bring my other pieces to the attack. And just, it's not even, like, just don't even think. Just bring your pieces. And now, as you can see, we have a mate in 1. It's hard to find, though. So I'm just going to play knight to b5. And then here, we have this, which is checkmate. Protected by the bishop, and everything else is protected. Just make sure that you're never, like, more than, say, 20% of the clock time down from your opponent. If you ever get that far, just, like, blitz out a move. Just, like, a random move. Just make sure, as I said, that you don't have any, like blunders in your position. Make sure nothing can be taken, and you should be able to gain back some time. And especially in the opening, you should just be, like, making moves really quickly, because it's the best time to get ahead on your opponent in terms of time, because you know what moves you're going to play. And now, to demonstrate, I'm going to be playing a random bullet game against this opponent. So now I'm just going to, like, play the opening moves. This is the French defense. You can also pre-move. You see that wasn't technically a pre-move, but, and also attacking your pieces is attacking your opponent's pieces is a really good idea, because, like, oh, interesting. Okay, I kind of blundered, but I can get back into the game because this is blitz. You see, I'm already 5 seconds ahead. Oh, see? They blundered a fork. I was going to go bishop b4 check anyway. Now I can do this. And they go back. I can go here. Giving checks is also a good idea. Also, just get your pieces into the game. So I can go here. I was going to go queen c6, but you see, I can't do that anymore. So I'll just move my bishop out here. Also defending the f7 pawn. Now I'll bring my queen back to d8 to defend the knight. And then play h6 as fast as possible. They take. Now I'm 15 seconds, almost, ahead of my opponent. And you can also make, like, little plans here, like, I'm going to go queen g5 in order to go bishop h3 and threaten checkmate. And there's a good chance that in bullet, your opponent's not going to notice. Now, my opponent did seem to notice, and that's why they played this. Now I'm just going to play f6. I didn't know really what to play there, so I just attacked one of my opponent's pieces. It makes sense. Now we have f4, a counterattack on my queen. and I will go queen h4. Is this the only safe square? This attack remains. Now I will go queen g4. The queen is attacking, but my bishop is defending. Yeah, here I can just move back to d7. And then go and attack the rook. And now I can go and attack the knight. You see, I'm still ahead of my opponent on time. And then, now that I've got this knight out of the way, I can go on to the second rank and start gobbling these pawns. Oh, okay, so they're attacking my bishop. I will just move it out of the way to d7. They defend. I'm going to move my knight to e6 in order to attack both of these pawns. They cannot both be defended, and so I will be simply winning a pawn here. I'm also attacking this g2 square. And now this is really bad for my opponent. Now I can even take this, getting another piece into the action. Boom. Let's see. I can now attack this knight, and once it moves, then if I move this rook, then it will be discovered check, which is a very powerful tactic. And I'm also skewering my opponent, and they resigned. So as you can see, I just got a free 15 elo from following these basic principles. And I hope you can do the same too. That's it for this video. Hope you gain epic elo. Yeah.